Hi, everyone. This is Jeannie White from Social Connections on Passionate World Talk Radio. And today we have with us Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Yay!
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for inviting us.
That's great. So we have Lillian Caldwell and we also have Mark Stowers. Mark, do you want to take it over, Mark?
Sure. I guess the questions, we're looking for people that are listening on the air. If you have any questions, look forward to sending those questions to me on the live comments, and I'd be happy to ask Mr. and Mrs. Claus those questions. I've got some questions that I've been accumulating from my friends and relatives, and so maybe we could start doing that by talking about those questions, if that's okay with you, Santa.
Certainly is. Sometimes those are the best questions.
So how do you what should we leave out for Christmas Eve for you, buddy?
Well, most times the kids like to leave some cookies, and I like cold milk, and I usually think of the reindeer. So a few cut up carrots or some apples for those guys, that should suffice us, because if I have cookies and milk at every stop, I get put all the weight back on that I just tried to lose. The doctor's been monitoring me pretty much the last couple of years.
Has he?
Got to come down a little bit so you can have some longevity to continue this wonderful work.
And so carrots and celery for Santa is a good idea as well.
And cold milk and cookies for the deer, right?
Yes.
I was going to say, the reindeer's favorite food is cookies and carrots. That are apples and carrots, then, right?
That's
Mainly
right.
carrots. They like the vegetables, and the fruits are just a bonus for them.
Does Santa? One of the questions I had was, if the children aren't home on Christmas Eve, how do you know that they're not, where they're at?
Well, it's really not important to know enough where they're at, as long as they're at the right house and the presents are distributed. Because we try to do it, as you know, it's in the middle of the night. Sometimes the kids try to peek, but if they're not home, they're still going to get their presents.
Okay.
We have a whole map on the wall where we point out if different people are different places, that we can make sure we hit those areas as well.
Uh-huh. And one of the typical big questions is, Santa, how do you get down the chimney?
Well, as you can tell, it's difficult, and sometimes we have to improvise. And I think some of the parents are keen enough to know that they might leave the rear mudroom door unlatched, so that I might have to use that as an entry and an exit. But all in all, we try to do what we can. Usually the bigger homes have a bigger chimney. We just hope that they haven't had a fire glowing the evening before. That could be the day. Unlatched, so that I might have to use that as an entry and an exit. But
can you talk a little bit about the reindeer? I mean, how does it take a long time to get the reindeer ready for the night?
Well, we have, as you know, we have staff and we have our elves, and some are particularly assigned to the stable area, and we prep them, and they go through a training period, and they're pretty adept about getting them harnessed up and getting them ready to go for that night.
Uh-huh. It does, and I know that when I talked to Mrs. Claus a couple of days ago, she had Rudolph doesn't particularly come out all the time, does he?
No, because if the weather is clear, he gets a little break, and so I guess he enjoys that. But he misses leading the team, so he kind of, I think, as an animal, he must think, I hope it's foggy, I hope it's rainy, I hope it's snowing, so that he can lead his guys.
And how long are you actually gone? I mean, is there any way to really tell a time, or is it just kind of a mystical night?
It feels very mystical. I rely on Mrs. Claus for getting us ready. She checks everything on the sleigh and sends me on my way. And
Uh-huh.
I don't think about the time. I just think about the course of how I'm going and where I'm leading to, and just to work as efficiently as we can and get everything dispersed and then head back to the North Pole.
Yeah. Now, do you have helpers with you on the sled or not?
No, we don't.
Okay.
That might be a good idea some year, though.
It sounds like it, yes.
We
Well,
don't
if you
want to
start-
have too much weight on the sleigh. We already are burdened with all the gifts and presents and things, so there wouldn't be much room to put a couple of, maybe a half a dozen little elves.
Sure.
Only Santa is privy to the Christmas magic.
Uh-huh. Mrs. Claus, how do you get Santa ready for the big night?
Well, I make sure he has a real good meal, and he's usually resting up while the elves, and I make sure they all do their job diligently to get the sleigh ready. So he just kind of gets in the sleigh and does what he's told.
So you're kind of supervise the whole operation then?
Oh, yes, yes.
That's the blessing. That's the blessing.
I keep the elves in line, and those
Yeah.
elves that misbehave become, as you guys might know, elf on the shelf. So those elves that have been sent to your homes are because they've been kicked out of the toy factory fooling around. So
Sure.
we send them to your homes to try to improve their behavior to get back to the workshop.
Now, what happens after Santa gets back?
Oh, he takes a big long nap.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Get stretched out. I get by the fireplace, have a little eggnog, and just have maybe sometimes when I used to smoke a pipe, that would relax me. But I just take it easy and chill for the rest of the winter.
Yep. So, and how is the North Pole weather these days?
It's pretty clear and it's pretty cold, but it's usually that way all the time. So we don't get too many storms, fortunately. We get a little snowfall and some real brisk winds and cold weather, but we get that fireplace going and maybe cuddle up to Mrs. Claus.
See, one of the questions I had from a little girl is, does the deer get jealous of Rudolph because he's got so much popularity?
No, they shouldn't. They learned that they had to depend on him, and he has a particular role. And it's all about teamwork. So I don't
Sure.
believe that they get envious or jealous for the flight. So no, I think they all appreciate his effort when he has to work with them.
Uh-huh. And I'm kind of running out of questions here. Ladies, do you have any questions at all?
Do you have any questions, Lillian?
Well, I know that my grandson would like to know whether the other reindeers have boy and girl partners so they don't get lonely during the long winter nights.
Well, I don't think we can address that subject with too much detail. Let's just say everybody does the best they can.
Oh, I'm
They're
glad to
very
hear that. Oh,
Yeah.
Christine Turner has a question.
Yeah.
Christine says, how long do the reindeer have to rest after that all-nighter?
Well, when they get in, we have a stable master. He's a great, great guy. We found him, Steve Bakish. He's from Derry, New Hampshire. And he's very wonderful with animals. So he kind of gets them stressed, unstressed out, brushes them down, puts a little extra feed in their bins, and he kind of tends over them. And he lets us know if anyone's had an adverse effect from the weather and if everything is fine. So he reports pretty regular, and the reindeer just start lazing around and munching, and he does a great job for us.
I'm curious, how true do the Christmas movies about Santa Claus depict what really goes on at
The North
Santa
Pole?
Claus Central? Yeah.
Well, I would say the movie industry has expanded or exaggerated on some of our magical nights, and that's, I guess, just a license that the director or producers have to make another story. But we and Mrs. Claus and I know the true mission of what we're trying to do is to spread goodwill and cheer and keep everybody happy.
Now, is most of your staff elves?
Say that again, please,
Is most of your staff elves?
Mrs. Claus.
Yes, majority of them are. We
Okay.
need them real little so that they can all fit and work together. So it's
Uh-huh.
easier for the operation of building the toys if they're of the smaller proportions, so that they can get in the hard to reach areas and get everything done quickly.
Are you into the computer age yet?
A little bit. I see the elves playing with a lot of the technology toys. I have to yell at them to get back to work. But
Yeah.
me and Santa, we try to keep it old tradition.
Say, Santa, do you like those cookies that the children leave you?
I do. I do.
Question
They
from
seem
Jeannie.
to. They seem to have. I don't know if it's their grandmothers or their moms, but they tend to bake them. You know, they're not store bought. They feel and taste like they baked in the oven, so they're really delicious. So it
What's
must
your
be a tradition from their grandma and their mom.
What's your favorite?
Well, I like chocolate chip. I like chocolate chip.
Okay. And cold milk, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jeannie, you got any questions, or Lillian anymore? Kind of run out of mine.
No, I wanted to know what do the children leave for the reindeers also, because they must leave something for the reindeers for you also, Santa.
As I said earlier, usually chopped up carrots, raw carrots.
Oh, good.
Sometimes I see that they cut up or quarter a head of lettuce, depending on what region they're from, and they do very well. They do very well.
And now a lot of them have that reindeer food that they put on their
Oh, that's
front
right.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that reindeer food. Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the reindeers love when they have a landing, and there's a lot of that reindeer food for them.
Santa, do you have to divert it all during your trip because of all the planes and all that stuff?
No, I think the FAA, the Federal Aviation Association, they kind of track us. As you know, now we do have kind of GPS capabilities, and we have radar and satellite. So those innovations have kind of cleared away. It's almost like you feel like you're in a presidential, Air Force One, because they make sure the airspace is not as we're going our way, west, east, north. They kind of clear that for us. And sometimes we've used the not Civil Air Patrol, but like National Guards. They'll be on alert to stand by in the event we need something.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any alien encounters while you're flying around up there?
Oh, that's the funny one. No, I really haven't. I don't want to.
Just thought I ask. Everybody else are seeing spaceships, so I thought maybe you had a sighting and you didn't really want to share it with the rest of the world or something, because they say the aliens are out there. So just thought I asked.
Well, maybe, but they're probably friendly aliens. I haven't had any threats, and as I say, we set a course when we're over Nevada there at Area 51. Everyone's always talking about that and what goes on, but we don't really fly into any problems, and particularly with other UFOs or alien types. I kind of would welcome that kind of encounter.
Well, it could be an alien Santa Claus up there in a dual reality.
No, no.
If he ever gets abducted, we'll be calling on you for questioning.
So Christina has a question. Do you teach reindeer to understand the different languages that you have to speak on your tour, I guess?
I would say that we speak English because that's how we trained with them, but
Uh-huh.
we don't really rely on using foreign language.
And do you start at dark on the planet, and go follow follow the sun? I mean, you know what I mean? So
Yes, we
you're
like
following the dark
the
all
middle
night?
of the night.
Yeah,
So that's it. It's less problems, and we're able to do things with a little more care. And I enjoy it to work through the night. And then obviously we're not delivering things in daylight or daytime.
no, I'm just saying that it's always a night shift, I guess I'm saying.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Do you ever run into little kids while you're delivering packages?
Maybe once in a great while, the kids may have not stayed. They're supposed to stay in bed. They might stir to maybe go use the toilet, or maybe they're just mischievous and want to peek. And I'm sure that happens to a lot of them. So it's
Sure.
really up to the moms and dads to tell them, hey, you got to stay, snuggle in your bed and don't come out. Stay there and be surprised in the morning.
Sure. How do you determine, let's stay a little bit with the kids. How do you determine who's been naughty and nice?
Well, Mrs. Claus?
Yes, well, we obviously get a lot of reports from the elves. The elves report back to us about how the children are behaving, but it's important for the children to behave all year round, not just within the month of December. So we are even checking in on them in June and July, and sometimes the parents, if they're having a real difficult time with somebody, might send us a letter to pay particular attention to them and see if they're able to kind of change their ways. So we just ask for everybody to be kind to each other, no matter what, and respect each other as they like to be respected themselves.
Okay, that's great. Hey, how do you get a lot of mail?
We
Oh,
get
yes.
lots of mail. The elves sort through the mail a lot.
Okay.
And
Well, I'm just,
so,
I'm wondering. I know that they had that one show where they had the Santa got a lot of mail. I'm just, I would assume you guys get a lot.
Yeah, we have our own mail room where the mail is delivered, and they sort
Yeah.
through it and make little notations of who's requesting what this year. And we say we can't promise everything everybody wants, but we try to do our best.
But you encourage the children to write to you, right?
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Another question is, how do you get down to the Christmas tree if there's no chimney?
Well, as I said, if there's no chimney, we usually will use, a rear door or the garage, and things are magical.
Sure.
I have a question. Have you ever kept a count of how many coals and sticks you have left for children over the past half century?
No, that would be something that's a rarity. And happily, it's a rarity that there's not too many bad kids or misbehaving kids. So they're just acting out sometimes, but all in all, we've seen them that as they're very young, as they get a little older, they have a little more sense of maturity and decency and respect and love, and they learn those things if they're nurtured. It all depends on the parents, and as you know, in today's world, some single parent families, they have a harder job, but they all do well.
I bet you have some parents who do awfully badly too, and you have to sort of remind them.
Well, you'd like to once in a while to encourage them in a way to do something a little different, but not being trained in counseling. I just hope for the best.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that you keep the parents on their toes.
Because if they're bad, they don't get anything either. So
Exactly. I don't think parents have figured that one out. They have to mind their P's and Q's as well.
Yes.
Betsy, got any questions for Mr. and Mrs. Santa?
She just came on. I'm sure she does have a few questions. We'll see what she has, but do you have any, I don't know, Mark, if you asked this question about, do you have a meal before you leave Santa?
Yes, we have something, filling up, but not too much so I would get sleepy on the sleigh.
Now, do you take any?
Until I get home.
Do you
Santa
take
loves
any?
a nice steak, a filet mignon.
Do you take any of these cookies back to Mrs. Claus when you finish up?
Well, I try to encourage the families, not to leave a lot, like dozens. So sometimes there may be a few left over. I'll bring them, but I don't think she really likes them that much.
He tries, but he usually ends up eating them on the way home.
I see. Mrs. Claus, what do you do during the time that Santa's away?
Oh, well, I just, rest, and me and the elves, we have a little sort of Christmas party ourselves. So we do some celebrating and maybe have a turkey cooking in the oven and serve that to all the elves for all their hard work for the year. And we take about a month off, and then they have to get right back to work making all those toys.
Santa, Betsy has a question and is asking if you get tummy aches from all this good food.
Fortunately, no, because I don't really go to excess. Once in a while, I may have a little too much, but I don't seem to suffer with tummy aches or belly aches or sick to my stomach. So that's probably one reason why I keep eating them all.
Yeah. What is your wardrobe outside of the big night?
Well, I like
jeans and t-shirt or what?
Sweats. I like fleece. I wear flannel shirts. Obviously, I spend a lot of time in long underwear, but just some loose clothing. You don't get very dressed up because we're usually in that one spot. It's not much social life unless how we ever entertain each other and watch movies.
But I mean, your red outfit is particularly for that one night, right? I guess that's my question.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Do you have a particular pipe tobacco that you're partial to?
No, not really, because lately, under the doctor's orders, I've been advised to curtail or reduce my tobacco usage. There used to be a tobacco brand, I think it was called Middleton Number 5, and that had a nice bouquet to it. It was relaxing.
Oh, okay. That sounds pretty good. Or a water pipe, huh?
A hookah.
Poor Santa.
Hey, I'm just asking. I don't know these things.
That's fine.
We welcome those types of challenging questions.
Sure.
I've always wondered, and I wasn't going to ask them these questions when I was 7 years old, that's for sure.
Kind of nice to ask these questions to Santa now, really.
Yeah, now I can ask him anything and I'll be fine.
Yeah. Speaking of that, if there's anybody online that has questions, please type them out and send it up to us. Santa seems to be very amicable about asking reasonable questions, if you would. So what time, Betsy says, what time do you start delivering gifts? We kind of talked a little bit about that. You're basically a night shift job, right? So
yes.
night starts.
We plot obviously through the time zones to see when it's darkest or when it's closer, between midnight and 6 a.m. to not be out in the daylight. So it's charted and plotted.
Now, do you stop at some of these Pacific Ocean islands as well, too, right?
Yes, those are included.
Sure.
Package deal.
What?
A package deal. Have you ever gone on a cruise afterwards?
To be honest with you, I took Mrs. Claus one year, and we had a charter plane take us to California, and there was a cruise to Hawaii. We went to Pearl Harbor,
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Enjoyed being on the ground, enjoyed, the memorial to the veterans, and it was just an amazing, picturesque, and relaxing time because obviously we were in, plain clothes. So to
Right.
speak.
So you went
We were able to just
incognito.
mix in with the other people on the ship. It was about a 3 or 4 day cruise from San Francisco to Hawaii, and we enjoyed that very much, very much.
Oh, that's nice. How did you like it, Mrs. Claus?
Oh, I loved it. It was good to be in different type of weather. It was
Especially warm,
it was
right?
really nice. But it's always good to come back home.
Oh,
Now, do the kids ever leave any Christmas presents for you and Mrs. Claus?
Well, we don't recommend that because it's all about their receiving
Right.
the gifts and the thoughts. But sometimes they leave a little something. I think, I don't know why, but it seems like girls outnumber the boys when they want to leave a thought or an appreciation of whether it's a letter or a little toy of some memento type of thing. Even that's not for me. It says, bring this back from Mrs. Claus.
A lot of Christmas ornaments.
Yeah, that's pretty neat because there are a lot of different ornaments that one can collect over the years.
That's right. We have a number of trees here at the North Pole. One like you can see behind us, but we have a number of them. So they're all very well decorated.
Has anybody ever left you a gingerbread house complete with all the trimming?
I don't recall.
I don't think so. That might get damaged on the sled. So Santa
I would think so.
would probably just leave that behind, even though he appreciates the thought.
I might nibble at a piece of it if I saw it on the dining room table.
we're coming to the end pretty soon. So any other questions? Because we don't want to tire out Santa and Mrs. Claus.
That's right. They still have a couple more days to prepare for the big
I'm
trip.
sure- right. I'm sure they're very busy with the with what's going on, getting those presents
right.
ready and getting that sled ready. Now, I love that
Gotta
sled.
keep the old man well rested.
Do you use a special wax on the blades of the sleigh so it glides over the snow?
Well, they apply something to it. I don't really know what they use, like barber's wax or, it's not oil like that squeezed 3-in-1 oil. But they do something, I guess, that you might use like at a ski lodge.
Do you exercise the reindeer during the beginning of the season to just kind of make sure that they're ready in shape for the day?
Certainly do. They have little test flights. Gets harnessed up and brought out to the stable area, and get the sleigh attached and do a few circular trips around the property. It's pretty expansive. So they'll go. And, it's like working out and seeing how the team and the equipment is working. Any harnesses need to be tightened up or anything is loose and needs to be stitched.
Okay. Christina just sent a note, says, be safe, Merry Christmas. Christina, Merry Christmas to you too.
Merry Christmas.
And to you and yours, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
Right. Is there any parting words, Santa and Mrs. Claus, that you'd want to say to our listening audience, especially the children?
I would just say make sure that you're good all year round and take care of the toys that you do have. We can't bring you more stuff if you don't take care of what you already have. And always listen to your mother and father. They'll always point you in the right direction.
We just want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas.
Oh,
Merry
thank
Christmas,
you, Santa. And thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us. I truly appreciate it. Any parting words for you, Mark?
Mrs. Claus mentioned it to me. I said, let's do it. It's not out in the cold, and we get a chance to interact with some fine folks. So we appreciate your effort on getting us advertised and known about, and it was very, very helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming and joining us today. We're just really stoked.
Yep. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Santa.
And if I could just thank our technical supporter, Christina, who's here with us. Bless her heart. Done a lot of work.
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now. Sheeny White
Bye.
on Passionate World Talk Radio. You'll be able to see this again. We'll post it and we'll tell Santa if we hear any more questions for you, Santa. All right?
Very
Yes.
well. Please do.
Okay. Merry Christmas, Santa.
Merry
Bye now.
Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.